Welcome back. Okay, so maybe I should have done this video a week later. It took me a really long time to erase this board. But anyways, let's get started here. Okay, so we understood a little bit about reactors and forecasters, right? And at this stage, I still want you to start be thinking about, along with all those three categories that I've given you, aggressive, conservative, and confirmation-based traders, do any of these traits match you? Are you a forecaster? Do you like predicting the future? Or are you patient and saying, I'll wait to see what happens and then I'll trade accordingly? Okay? So you need to know these pieces as well. Now, let's understand the next stage. Now we're approaching the next stage, which is so now this becomes a very interesting question that you need to ask yourself. Based on everything that you've mentioned, think about it. Are you a trader or are you an investor? Now, what's the difference? An investor likes market movements. A trader in a certain market movement can actually manipulate and extract trades from it, which means he needs to be on his toes at all times. Okay? He likes the thrill and the idea of money. The investor doesn't care for the thrill, he just likes money. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? This guy purely is fueled by, I just want to make money. I don't care what type of casino this might be, I don't care what it is. How do I know how I can get in, how I can get out, and how much do I make? This guy is like, well, whatever you can do, I can do 10 times faster because I am there. I can see the markets, I can see the charts, and I know how the decisions you make, I just do it faster. That's a trader. He's like a mini investor, right? He's just doing it faster and faster, almost like a scalper, right? So you got to think to yourself, are you a trader or an investor? Now let's discuss the traits of this. Because soon you're going to start to realize, okay, all these pieces I'm thinking about, we haven't still got to the part of, well, what am I supposed to do? The doing part will come in a bit. Don't worry. Right now is all about, before the doing, as we all love, let's get to the good part. What's the good part? What should I do? But before you get into what you should do, you need to know who you are. Because based on the various strategies and techniques I'm going to teach you, how do you know which one is for you if you don't know who you are, right? You can't experiment with all of them because it's going to devastate, it's going to be devastating sometimes because you got to experiment with the type of personality you have. Okay, so let me get rid of this and I'll show you the trader versus the investor concept. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples based on my students, okay? Based on my students. Like some of my one-on-one students. These guys are the people I've trained personally. They've either flown to me or I've flown to them. And they have these traits, and I'm going to explain their traits to you. Okay. Trader, and then we'll go into investor afterwards. So a trader, the traits are active. Means he likes the activity. He likes the thrill, or she likes the thrill. Okay, the sentence is, I've got time. Yeah. And I want to do it faster. Okay? This is the world we live in, right? We want to speed up things a little bit. We're like, come on, I don't want the bank's lazy 3% a year. I want 3% a day, right? This is how traders think. That's why the traders who do break through, they got a lot of money just sitting there versus those who take the slow and easy route. But then you're like, well, but they also take a risk of being involved in the market. The more you're involved, the more risk you're taking. Okay, it's not a bad thing, but the more you're involved, the more risk you're taking because you're paying in fees, you're paying in probability of being wrong at times, and you're trying to challenge the market, which means the technique you're using doesn't work in all conditions. You should know that. So if you're a certain type of trader, which we'll go into later, for example, a trend pullback trader, a trend pullback situation only happens in trends. They don't happen in any other market conditions because they simply won't work. Okay? So we need to understand this stuff. We'll go into all of that stuff in week 3. We get into the meat part in week 3, and we're gonna build and build and build, and we're gonna start cracking down of like, who are you? What do you need to do? What's your game plan? You know, day 1, day 2, day 3. Start tackling these things, because chances are you're here for a reason. You have the knowledge, you have the skills, or you're picking up the knowledge. Let's say you just, for example, picked up the Mastering Price Action course, and you're learning this stuff, but you're like, there's a lot of good information in here, but which one is for me, right? So this will help you really open the doors for you and be like, aha, that's what I like, and that's what I'm good at. Because what I like doesn't necessarily mean what I'm good at. They can be different at times. You have to realize that, okay? Now, so a trader, he loves activity, okay? They love the thrill. They have this sentence saying, I've got time, so might as well, right? And I want to do it faster, which means, come on, I don't want to do a weekly time frame. Give me a 15-minute time frame and I'll do this over and over and over again. Is someone told me it's too risky to do it on 15 minutes. 1 hour? Okay, I'll do it on 1 hour. Weekly, daily, I don't care who told me that. It's still too big, too far. I don't like that time frame. You see? But when a trader is trading the 15 minutes, if some senior guy comes in and says 15 minutes too dangerous, you're gonna have a loss, you're like, oh, okay, I'll drop the 15 minutes. I'll go down to the 1 hour or 4 hours for trading on my charts. But if that same senior trader tells you that's too risky, and then he says do the weekly or monthly, what's gonna happen? I don't like that advice. It doesn't gel with me. And that's exactly the key, what I'm trying to tell you. You might listen to certain advices, but is that advice purely from your inner heart? Does it gel with you? Because when the advice goes something that you don't like, you might be like, okay, I'll do it, but I don't know how active I'm gonna be in the market. I'm gonna get like 1 trade a month, and I don't wanna have 1 trade a month. That's so boring, right? So it won't gel with that person when someone says go on to the weekly, monthly, and maybe an investor friend is like, what are you doing? Just throwing your money around in these little things. Go big, go large, and go once, go twice in a month. And for a trader, that's just like, man, you're old school, you're boring, get out of my face, you know? But the investor might be old school, boring, whatever it may be, because the newer generation is also becoming an investor, and they're learning on how to segregate money and everything like that. But they have their own style. It's a little bit slower, but it's faster than the bank still. Okay, well, so we'll get into investors right now. So what an investor is, yeah. You can thank the hotel here in Mauritius to give me this flimsy board. I'm sorry if the manager is watching this. If you've picked up my course and you're angry at me because of the board, I'm sorry. All right. Okay. All right. Whew. All right. Now, an investor, on the other hand, he or she likes it slow. He or she likes control, and he or she does not like flared emotions. Now, what is flared emotions? When you trade slowly, you don't really activate your emotions, right? You're in a trade and you're aiming for 600 pips. For example, I'm not saying every trade is 600 pips, but you're aiming for 600 pips and your stop loss is 200 pips. Now the trade today has gone down 50 pips. To an investor, I I'm in it for a long run, so I did my homework, I'm okay. Wakes up tomorrow, minus 40 pips. After moving around all over the place, it ends up at minus 40 pips. Doesn't bother him, 2 days have gone by. Next day, 50, 40, 30, 70. These are all minuses, and then suddenly plus 10 pips, right? It's just going up and down, up and down. His emotions are not getting weakened, okay? While a trader, any reaction weakens his emotion, which means he needs to be powerful. If he can control those emotions, he's gonna be making a lot of money. An investor is trying to get away from that evil demon emotion and saying, I can't handle that, so I'm gonna trade this way and I'm gonna be a boss at it. And all of those traders who are challenging me saying, I'm gonna trade much faster than you, I'm gonna do 600 pips in a week's time because I'll have 10 trades or 50 trades while you have only one trade, and this guy's gonna be like, we'll tally up at the end and we'll see who's winning. Because he doesn't have emotions competing with him, which is more dangerous than your broker or fees from your brokerages or even your trade. Okay? So he has it a little bit easier, but he has his own pros and cons. He has carry trades, which is he needs to pay interest, or he will get interest sometimes for holding a position overnight, over the weekend and stuff like that. He needs to have a much bigger margin, much bigger capital, blah, 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 blah. So he has his own set of problems anyway. It's not like it's all rosy and sunshine for him. But what I want you to think is, do you like waiting? Do you not like waiting? Think about it that way. And don't think of it as a trade. Maybe as a trade, you're like, no, I don't like waiting because everyone keeps saying that. But think about it in real life. When you don't get, for example, a new car came out that you like, right? Let's say, I don't know, a Lexus. A Lexus came out and it's a beautiful Lexus and you're like, good, this Lexus is $50,000 or $60,000 and you want to buy it, but you're like, no, not now. I'm going to wait until the Lexus drops in price a little bit, or I'm going to shop around for it to see where can I get this for 50 or 40,000. And if it takes me a year, so be it. Otherwise, I don't want it. If you have that kind of a control, chances are you're like an investor. You're looking for a deal at all times. A trader is more like, car is 60,000, let me see if I can get it down to 58 and I'm good. He's looking for the slightest discount and he's like, I can turn that into a profit because I know a guy on the other side who's willing to pay me 61. So he'll make a quick profit and he'll say, let's do it again, let's do it again, let's do it again, let's do it again. But an investor looks at that as, oh, that's pretty risky, man. You're getting involved in the market too much. The moment you make a mistake, you might get into a problem. And the smaller trader, he's looking at the investor and saying, no, you're the risky guy. You make one deal, every 6 months. You make that deal wrong, you're done. You're out of the game for another 6 months, right? So they both have their, their understandings of, well, how valuable are you to the game, right? So keep this idea in mind. I'm not leaning towards one or the other. Okay, I myself am a trader and an investor, both, right? So I want you to think like that. Well, who am I? How much of it is slow and control, or fast and expectation of I need this to work now? And then I want you to think, where does that come from? Is that who you are outside of trading? Is that what you like to do in real life as well? And if yes, hold on to that answer, because that answer is now going to further be your power. Again, the objective of this course is not to tell you where the flaws are. Forget the flaws. I don't believe in flaws. I believe in you are made so unique that your flaw that someone else or society might say is a flaw is actually a power source. You need to tap into that power source and says, I've recognized who I am. Let's kick ass from here. Let's beat the market based on knowing who I am. Okay? And you're going to develop accordingly. Okay? Because getting rid of these situations is very difficult. You're going to need psychiatrists and psychology, blah, blah, blah. And that's not the right way to do things. The right way to do things is hone into your inner self. Be aware of who you are and say, okay, If that's who I am, then that's who I will be. I will not take no for an answer from anybody. I won't let the world or society or anyone tell me who I am or who I should be. The only one who can tell you that is you. Okay? I'm going to see you next week on week 3. We're going to go into techniques and strategy based on who you are. I'm going to give you one last week. Okay? I've given you 1 week before to be aware. I'm going to give you 1 more week to be aware and take these things into consideration as you do trades this week. Maybe you might do 1 trade, maybe you'll do 10 trades. But think about everything I've said so far as you take each trade and think about, wait a minute, I'm starting to realize my inner self is coming out. So again, before we leave, in the comments below the video, I want you to promise me saying, I will be aware this week. Which means I want to see a comment from everybody saying, I am going to be aware this week. I want to know all of you guys are taking this very seriously. As much as I am spending my time here trying to make you understand that there is more to trading that comes from you and not just from me giving you good ideas, good techniques and everything like that. There is something to you that you need to realize, I gotta one up my skill. Okay, so keep that in mind and I'll see you next week. Cheers.